The living dead, walkers, biters, hungries, fleshies, bonies, the infected. Over the years, zombies have went through many iterations and incarnations. The idea of zombies started as Haitian folklore, possibly as early as the 17th century. Zombie films are much more recent than that, but they have still been around for quite a long time. Most zombie films fall under the all-encompassing genre of horror, but they have changed and grown into their own separate thing or subgenre over time. Movie genres like this adapt and change over time, and film critics like to refer to this as the four cycles of a genre. It goes through primitive to classical to revisionist to parodic, or parodies. The first cycle is primitive films, which are the beginning of a genre. They establish a new style, and a lot of the conventions of the genre are usually established within this phase. The film The White Zombie from 1932 is regarded as the very first zombie film. The zombie in this film is a woman named Madeline who takes a potion, dies, and then is brought back to life by her husband and a voodoo master. This draws on Haitian folklore, and Madeline acts like she's in an unbreakable trance, and this archetype is the predecessor to the brain-craving, shuffling corpses that have become the zombie norm today. Following primitive is the classical cycle, which assures that the ideas of the genre's values are shared with the audience. The aspects of the genre and distinct character types, or archetypes, and tropes emerge. The most popular examples of classical zombie movies are Night of the Living Dead from 1968 and Dawn of the Dead from 1979. These show a lot of the tropes and archetypes that are a staple of current zombie movies. Instead of voodoo magic, the zombies in these movies are shambling, mindless corpses whose sole purpose is to just consume flesh. The characters might try to accomplish a certain goal that they have in mind, but their overall main goal is to survive the zombie onslaught that befalls them. There are many different character types, and over time, a goal or motives that drive the plot, they'll change, but the basic structure is established here in these films. Mindless, flesh-eating zombies trying to kill and eat survivors, and the survivors trying to survive, hence their namesake. After classical comes the revisionist cycle. These movies tend to be more symbolic and ambiguous, and they have less certain values. They're more stylistically complex, and the established conventions or values of a genre might be exploited or questioned, and they might undermine popular beliefs. This cycle shows the old pre-established ideals meeting the new ideals, and because of that, the film takes on different themes and changes. A popular revisionist film is Warm Bodies from 2013. The zombies in this film are split into two separate categories. There's the fleshies and the bonies. The bonies are like the classic zombie archetype in nature. They're mindless and flesh-eating, but they appear more like ghouls than the normal zombie archetype. On the other hand, the fleshies go against the typical zombie archetype. They're capable of speech and other functions, and even become semi-human near the end of the movie. The movie itself has surviving and fighting zombies, and zombies eating human like the previous films, but unlike previous films, it's told through the perspective of a zombie, and it's a very loose adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. The final cycle is parodic, or parody. At this cycle, the movies begin to make fun of and mock themselves and the original genre. It plays off of common tropes and types that have been established and spoofs them. Some popular zombie parodies are Shaun of the Dead and The Dead Don't Die. These have the classic brain-craving corpses and similar tropes and situations to the classical zombie films, but the films make fun of them as they are occurring by doing comedic things such as using the groans of a zombie as the beat for a song and more. Shaun of the Dead even parodies the title of the classic film Dawn of the Dead. Every established genre goes through the four cycles. While zombie films have gone through all four, there are still examples of classic or revisionist zombie films still being made today. Just because a genre has reached the parodic point of its cycle doesn't mean that every single movie for that genre now has to be a parody. Revisionist or classical films could still be made. A subgenre could also eventually emerge and put that genre back to its primitive phase and repeat the four cycles all over again. Some subgenres of zombie films that have emerged are the zombie apocalypse or the zombie comedy. Those will go throughout the four cycles, and so will their subgenres, and the four cycles will continue to repeat as each new genre emerges and adapts and changes to fit the ideals and perceptions of our ever-changing and adapting society. The cycles won't end, only repeat as more genres emerge.